How's it going, guys? This is Vincenzo from home of Milan coming back at you once again. Furthermore, today, unfortunately, we have two losses to cover versus Roma in the Europa League second leg and versus Inter in the derby in the Serie A. So without any further ado, guys, let's jump into this. But before we do, if you guys are new, make sure you guys check us out on all of our socials at Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and bunches, all at home of Milan. So without any further ado, guys, let's hop into this. So in the previous video, I predicted a 1-1 draw. Now, even though I predicted this still wouldn't be enough for us to go through. And I feel like in this match, we played even worse than what we did in the first leg in the San Siro. And I feel like when you look at the scoreline, it's just all you need to know about what happened in the match. And we go down 12 minutes in with a goal from Gianluca Mancini, who's able to have the time and the space to not only be free in our box, but have enough time and space to take a shot. And Roma go up 1-0. And I feel like just you're asking so many questions about the defensive setup. Who's marking Mancini? Why is he able to have this much space and time to get a shot off? And I feel like this segues nicely into the second goal, because you see Gabbia and Lukaku kind of go into a little scuffle together, and Gabbia just bounces right off of Lukaku. And Lukaku gets a ball saved, but it goes straight into the path of Paulo Dybala, and he does well to take his chance into that left-hand side. And again, you're asking questions. Why is Roma's most influential player able to have enough time and space to have a shot? And obviously Dybala is a star and he's a 1 in a million, but I think you have to be asking a lot of questions about how Milan set up this game defensively. But in the 31st minute, you're thinking that Milan may have a lifeline in this match, as Celik is given a straight red card for a studs-up challenge against Rafael Leao. And you're hoping that at this point, Milan can, kind of take advantage of a 10-man Roma side. And it was just a complete opposite of that. Not only were Roma 10 men down, but Roma were still able to create chances with 10 men while we had the numerical advantage. So again, you're asking so many questions why we're so complacent with just staying back, not attacking, not moving the ball progressively going forward, and using our threats like Leao and Pulisic. Later in the match, we saw Calabria come out for Reinders. And in this match, Calabria was playing as like a center defensive mid, and then Musa was out wide in that right-hand position, and it was just so strange to see that. But once these changes were made, once Reinders came in, once Chukwueze came in, you maybe started to see us maybe be a lot more fluid in the attacking phase, but it just still wasn't enough to get anything going forward. Then we saw Noah Okafor come in and a couple of other guys, but still just was not enough. And Roma played an absolute perfect game versus us in both legs, just absolutely wiping the floor with us, making sure we weren't even a threat going forward. And it was just so frustrating to see that Roma were just able to pick us off so easily. Just as Daniele De Rossi said, all he did was watch film versus the derby, and that's what the formula was to beat us. And he just implicated that into his team, and obviously Roma got the result. But you were hoping that maybe we could get something going, because Gabbia did score at the 85th minute with a great ball in from Leao, who got the assist. But at that point, we just all knew it was just too little, too late. We still needed 2 goals to just push to extra time, and it just was not in our favor, and it just was not going to happen for us. So we do bow out of the Europa League, 3-1 to aggregate versus Roma. Asking so many questions on why did Pioli insist on Calabria being an inverted right back and just playing in that midfield role, and why was Musa out wide? And we're just tinkering with the lineup when we just need to get a result. And I just feel like this 100% is on Pioli, and we'll get to Pioli a little bit later for the derby. But going on, let's go to tops and flops. For top, I'm going to say Matteo Gabbia. Obviously, not only did he get the goal, but I feel like it was just a positive defensive performance from him. Obviously, we've spoken our praises multiple times about him just being influential and being a major staple in that defense since coming back from his loan. And he's just done that completely. So couldn't be happier with Gabbia. So he's going to be my top. My flop is going to be Calabria, because even though Pioli did put him in a position to fail, I feel like Calabria wasn't doing anything progressive, wasn't doing anything positive either. So therefore, he's going to be my flop. Moving on to the Derby versus Inter. Obviously, this game, I feel like a lot of Milan fans were very pessimistic. I feel like we all knew that we were going to kind of lose. I predicted a 1-1 draw in this one, obviously to get somewhat of a positive result. But as the game kept getting closer and closer to kickoff, I just kept thinking, I said, you know what? It's just not going to happen. I think we're going to lose. And obviously we did. And I was hoping that as I turned on my TV, I said, if we cannot concede a goal versus Inter in the first 10 minutes, I think that's a win. And it only took Inter 8 minutes after that 10-minute mark to get a goal, and it was by Francesco Acerbi via set piece. And you're asking so many questions why Acerbi is wide open for this header, asking so many questions why he's able to have that space and that time. And he had the most free header of his career to get in, and Inter go up 1-0 from that. And you start to see some heads drop here and there. Obviously, Adli kept trying to motivate the team to go forward, and he was by far the most passionate player on the pitch. And we need more guys like Adli to have that sort of charisma going forward into these types of big matches. But once again, we just couldn't get anything going forward. Nothing really crazy happened. Leao had that golden one-on-one opportunity with Sommer, and he just hit it straight at the keeper. And unfortunately, I feel Leao has a lot of blood on his hands because that could change the tie at that point. But Marcus Thuram does get into the 2-0 lead. And right as soon as Thuram got the ball, I was just in my head, just replaying that goal that he scored, that top bins finish against us. And I was hoping that someone would stop him, but he kept driving in, and no one stopped. And of course, he's going to have a shot, and he beat Magnon at this near post. And I don't know what this romance is between Magnon and getting beat at his near post, but he has to be doing better. I don't know, maybe if I'm being a little bit too harsh because I have this loss on my head, but regardless, I feel like just after that, you see everybody's head drop. Leao just, throwing his arms up. And obviously, I think Leao shouldn't be doing that in the first place just because he is our star player. He is the face of the team. So I feel like when you see Leao do this, then there's just no going back from that. And just the attitude of this team is absolutely terrible. And I think that goes further into what we're going to get into later in this episode. But we started to see more subs from Milan. Obviously, Olivier Giroud came back in and Chukwueze came in. And you're asking questions because why does Pioli insist on, playing with Leao as the striker and Yunus Musa at that right mid if he's just going to put in Giroud at the 52nd minute? You know what I mean? So he kind of just contradicts himself at that point, and it's just too little too late to get something going. And, in the 80th minute, Fikayo Tomori had a nice little header off of the deflection, off of the crossbar, and he was there for the tap-in. But I want to give a special shout-out for Chukwueze and Leao for doing what they could. Chukwueze with a nice little ball into Leao. Leao heads the ball across, and Tomori is there for the tap-in. We saw the game towards the end go very out of hand because we saw Gabe get a foul, and then we saw Tomori get another yellow card, which he's going to be out versus Juventus with an accumulation of yellow cards. Then, obviously, towards the latter stages of the match, towards extra time, we saw Dumfries, Teo, and Davide Calabria all get red cards. So they're going to be out versus Juventus. But at that point, the game was already won for Inter. And, they get that second star. We're hoping that they wouldn't, win against us. But we just did not come to play for this game. And it's an absolute shame. And it's an absolute shame that Stefano Pioli puts these players in the positions that they're in. You put Rafael Leao at a position where he has openly said that he is not comfortable in. You put Yunus Musa in a position where he hasn't really played this season. And then you put Christian Pulisic, who has been playing right wing the whole season, and now all of a sudden in one of the biggest games of the season, you want to throw him at left wing. So there's just so many question marks that Stefano Pioli put from minute number 1 with the lineup that he put out. And there's a lot of blood on Pioli's hands, and I cannot wait to see him go this summer. Let's go to tops and flops for this one. For top, I'm going to say nobody. I don't think anybody played good. I don't think anyone really took the game by the scruff of the neck. I feel like no one was really progressive or doing anything to get the ball going forward. So I'm going to say nobody for top, and for flop, I'm 1000% going to say Stefano Pioli, because I think Pioli said, you know what? I'm going down, so I want everyone to come down with me. And he put an absolute stinker of a lineup together. Just taking out Reinders for some godforsaken reason when he's our best midfielder, putting Leao at striker, putting Yunus Musa in a position where he's not comfortable in, and there's just so many question marks from minute number 1. And I couldn't be more infuriated with how Stefano Pioli has taken this game. Let's move on to the preview versus Juventus. Obviously, we sit 5 points ahead of Juventus, who are in 3rd place. So we still got a nice little cushion despite us losing the derby. But we do go away to Juventus Stadium for this one. And we're not going to have Teo Hernandez, Davide Calabria, or Fikayo Tomori for this one, which is 3 out of our 4 starting defenders. And we're probably going to see Bartazaghi, Giancarlo Simic, and Florenzi come in. Hopefully, I feel like that would probably be the best case scenario, that we go into this game with those 3 coming in. And I don't know, I'm not really feeling that optimistic about this one. Obviously, in our last 4 games in all competitions, we have 3 losses and a draw, both coming from Roma and Inter, and then the draw versus Sassuolo, whereas Juventus in their last 4 games have 2 draws, a loss, and a win. So I think both teams are kind of in that inconsistent form, but I can't see us winning this game. So I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. If we do get the win, obviously that's really nice, but we're at that point of the season where there's just nothing to play for, just pride and courage. So hopefully we can at least get that going for us. So yeah, I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw versus Juventus. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys check us out on all of our socials down below if you guys are new. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, how you guys thought about the derby, our exit in the Europa League, and what you guys think is going to happen versus Juventus. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao ragazzi.